Guys, next we have a Sargon video on Zach Polanski, okay? Next we have a Sargon video on Zach Polanski, okay? Huge
So yesterday's Question Time was actually pretty good. Question Time is a political show that the BBC broadcasts in order to bring a range
it was actually pretty good, other than those asylum seekers that came over on the boats that they planted in the audience and faked.
of opinions, quote
Right,
unquote,
Sargon.
to a quote unquote representative audience. Now, as you can see, they had Mike Tapp, the Labour Immigration Minister, Kieran Mullen, a Conservative, Daisy Cooper, a Liberal Democrat, Zach Polanski of the Green Party, and Zia Youssef of Reform. So actually, that's a pretty good slate from the current political environment. It's quite representative of our politics, which is good. I was actually quite impressed, and it was quite entertaining in some parts. The Liberal Democrat and Zach Polanski were, of course, wildly pro-immigration. Wildly. Zach Polanski in particular, as you'll see in a minute, argued he would be totally happy with open borders. Daisy Cooper didn't say exactly that, but she was furious about the idea of limiting immigration generally. And the Conservative, Labour and Zia, of course, were firmly against. And it was the depth of their objection to immigration that I thought was most interesting, because their party lines have followed Reform. They are highly against immigration now. And so Mike got chewed out by Zach Polanski for being a coward and essentially a traitor to leftism, because, of course, Mike's part of a government that is actually in control of the country, and they actually have to respond to the electorate. Not that it's doing them any good, because they polled at 14% the other day, but anyway, that's another conversation. Overall, It was fairly predictable. The Conservative was very weak and soft-spoken. He was just, well, maybe we should get rid of some of these illegals.
Summary,
guys.
we get it, Sargon.
Mike Tapp was banging the drum about how many illegals Labour had deported, and Zia Youssef was, of course, chomping at his heels, saying, you haven't deported nearly as many as you're saying, you're basically lying to people about this, which he was. And then on the other side, you have Zach Polanski and the Liberal Democrat Daisy Cooper.
Wait, so who was
and then
lying?
Nearly as many, of course, chomping at his heels, saying, you haven't deported nearly as many as you're saying, you're basically lying to people about this, which he was. And then on the other side, you have Zach Polanski and the Liberal Democrat Daisy Cooper. Hysterical.
Is this for mention the muscle bits? I thought his sleeve was just like stuck, pulled up. Is he really wearing some like gay vest? Is Sargon really wearing some like gay little vest with no sleeves? Bro, this guy is a gay man. This guy is a gay man. You play the grinder notification sound around Sargon, he's going, huh? Oh. But
hysterical about the fact that the mainstream political line on immigration at this point is, how can we deport them fast enough? It's genuinely funny. And what was truly great about this is how deranged Zach Polanski came across. Like, he seems genuinely like he knows all the lines. He knows the computer code of leftism. He's got all of his answers pre-prepared. He has the rhetoric.
Not when he talks to Rory, though.
From a left-wing position. So he can give you the rhetorical left-wing argument about any particular subject. But as soon as it goes off script, as soon as he's challenged with something he's not familiar with.
No, he's saying that. As soon as he asks for details. Yeah, this is true. I have to agree with Sargon here.
Or doesn't have a ready answer to. He starts getting very angry. He starts yelling at people. He starts browbeating and essentially rabble-rousing, if you can imagine it from a leftist these days. But it becomes clear that he's got no real knowledge or depth on any of the issues. And this was shown on the Rory Stewart Alistair Campbell podcast. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
There we go.
The other day, where Rory made him look like a prat who doesn't know what he's talking about, when he was like, yeah, I like Gary's economics. Oh, God, okay. But anyway, one of the interesting things about this being a representative panel of the audience is they presented us with 2 illegal immigrants on this panel, in the audience for the panel. As Chris here, I'm still not over this. Yeah, I know. It was fucking remarkable that they would have the gall, because I think what they were trying to do is, of course, gin up some sort of sob stories. But the thing is, these were crap sob stories.
No, they were in Dover, where the small boats migrants arrive, doing a immigration special, So they brought on 2 out of a whole group of people ask questions, 2 small boat migrants or asylum seekers or whatever that had successfully received asylum, I believe. Or one of them had been accepted, one had been rejected, I think, right? I'm not sure. Either way, they brought on 2 asylum seekers. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's good content. That's good content. Sargon should know this. That's just good content. That's good telly. And we have in the studio today 2 actual small boat migrants. That's awesome. That's cool. That's funny. Getting them to say it to their faces, getting them to talk about it with them there. You don't see that very often. You don't see it very often with them in the room, you know? People just talk about them as if they're, you know, just non-existent, as if they're just off in the distance, because they are for most people.
Right? And as Chris points out, we pay for their accommodation, healthcare, food, taxes, and clothing, and then we give them 50 quid a week. And Zach Polanski was like, "Oh, you want to take away 50 quid a week from these guys?" Like, okay, well, it's not just 50 quid a week. It's all of the other money. But also, yes, because collectively...
Well, it's... The issue is the person asking that question. Some fucking pensioner who did not pay their way, who did not pay anywhere near the amount they're taking out, guaranteed, almost guaranteed, most of them didn't, there's no pensioners have fucking have paid in the amount they're taking out, they're all fucking drains. Some fucking pensioner who is literally the reason why the country is so raped, both because of Brexit and because of shit like the triple lock, terrible fucking policies that just totally coddle this whole fucking generation of layabout fucking waste of space parasites that got everything fucking handed to them. That guy asking the fucking question, "Oh, shouldn't we? What about all the money we're giving to the asylum seekers?" And then Zia Yusuf lying about the amount of money it's given, saying, "Oh, we give £10 billion to foreign nationals." It's so blatantly dishonest, and so it demonstrates the issue so clearly. Or, well, the difference between what people think is the issue and the actual issue. When you have this parasitic old guy sat there going, "Oh, isn't 50 quid a week a bit much?" Yeah, also, by the way, my pension's locked to the rate of inflation.
They're costing us billions of pounds. I don't really want them in this country. They shouldn't be here because they broke into it. We should just send them home. They're not our problem. But even more, the stories these guys gave us were just funny. Genuinely funny. So the guy on the right is from Afghanistan, and they were, "Oh, why did you choose Britain?" He's like, "Well, I got rejected by Turkey and by France and by Italy or wherever. A series of countries, something like 7 countries he got rejected from, until eventually Britain was like, yeah, okay, I guess we'll take you in." It's like, sorry, what are we doing? If he's been rejected by 7 other countries or however many it was, then there must be something about him that is not actually what we want in this country. Like, there must be a reason that they did that. Can't we converse with these previous countries and say, "Hey guys, why did you reject this guy again?"
Well, Sargon, imagine if, now this is going to be a fucking crazy idea. This is going to be a totally absurd idea. Let's say, now imagine a world where the UK was part of a broader multinational group, perhaps something like a union, where a lot of these issues were sort of automated. Like, we had like treaties where we honor clear commitments to take in a certain amount of people, and then as an offset, we're able to very easily communicate and instantly refuse any claims that are previously rejected in any of these other countries, where you know, we actually are able to keep control of our borders using other countries, which is absolutely necessary to achieve that. Now imagine if we had something like that, some kind of multinational organization with our neighbors, something like a union that allowed us to more easily and quickly process asylum claims and deny ones that had already been denied by other member states. Well, it's a good thing that Sargon didn't spend a significant portion of his career wasting his fucking time running for a seat that he didn't win, for a party that's sole purpose was drawing us out of a union exactly like the one I just described. Because that would be really fucking embarrassing for Sargon to be saying this in a video in 2025. If that was the case, wouldn't it? That would be really fucking embarrassing.
They'd be like, "Oh yeah, these reasons." I'd be like, "Right, okay. Yeah, we probably don't want him either." Moreover, the guy on the right
imagine
was asked
the
reason
he just moves on
is because another audience member had said to him, why don't they ever bring their women and children? Why is it always just men who are on the run? And he was asked this, and he never answers it. He just says, oh, it's just me, I came. It's like that. And I mean, really, are you like 40 years old or whatever, single in Afghanistan, confirmed bachelor? I imagine he's got a wife and kids back there that he's just left there. And I imagine that what he's trying to do is act as a kind of anchor in order to bring them across here. But anyway, he didn't say, so, okay, don't worry about answering the question. But then you got the guy on the left, who's a refugee from Iran. Now, you might be like, well, he might be gay or something. No, he's here with his wife and daughter, and he doesn't want to go back to Iran, even though I assume he's not in danger there. I mean, maybe he's a political dissident, but he didn't bring that up. So I'm going to...
By the way, literally one of the big talking points of Brexit, I'm pretty sure fucking idiots like this and Farage were running, was, well, the EU is forcing us to take some out of these Syrian refugees. There's massive migration crisis. We've been forced to take all these Syrian refugees. If we left the EU, we'd have control over our borders. But the asylum seeking has actually, despite all that, since Brexit, the asylum seeking has actually gone up massively. We actually have less control over our borders, despite technically having sovereignty, or whatever the fuck that means. It's so fucking stupid, man. Literally, it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking insufferable. They've literally made the problem they complain about worse, just so they can complain about it more. These people should be, genuinely, I think Farage should probably be in fucking prison for what he's done to this country, bro. It's so fucking despicable.
Not the reason. But he was also... why would you not want to go back to Iran? And his answer was, well, we're teaching our daughter English and not Farsi.
Cameron
so
too, actually.
She would have to learn a different language.
Farage and Cameron should be in fucking jail for Brexit.
She would have to learn.
And Bojo.
Oh, no. Oh, how horrible that you'd go back to your home country and she'd have to learn Farsi as well. So she would have English and Farsi, which you'd think would be an advantage.
Yeah, I remembered Bojo, don't worry. I remember that.
Get out of my country, man.
Bojo, to be honest, Boris should be in fucking prison for COVID too, frankly.
My country illegally. You've brought your family here as well. And now you don't want to go home because it would be inconvenient to have to teach your daughter the language of your country. Like, that's not a good reason to stay. That's not a good reason for me to pay for you to be here. That's not a good reason for anything. Like, these were the least sympathetic, frankly. I mean, on the plus side, at least they didn't get an actual criminal on. I mean, compared to who they could have got in the audience as illegal immigrants,
but Sargon,
I guess they could have done worse.
Entering the country is a crime, Sargon. Entering the country is a crime. Entering the country illegally is a crime. They are criminals, Sargon. They're criminals by definition, you fucking idiot.
Women or children, obviously. But I guess they could have done worse. But they were hardly the most sympathetic examples of what an illegal immigrant is and why they should be here. Like, they didn't have...
It's almost like they weren't plants. It's almost like they weren't fucking plants, dude.
The sob stories, they weren't fleeing war or persecution that they told us. They just wanted in.
Yeah, right. They've got one of them's got a 6-month-old daughter and risk of being sent back to Iran. There's no persecution possible there. You're so right, Sargon. So true.
And so they broke in. And I'm sorry, that's not good enough. And what's interesting is the guy from Iran seems to have been wearing some sort of headset. A lot of people here, Richard Tice here.
Oh, he must be a plant. That's why his question was so good and why you had such a sympathetic sub story prepared.
Up on this, saying, well, hang on a second. What's all this about? Are they coaching this channel migrant? It's like, yeah, maybe.
Just asking questions.
I mean, he did say, yeah, we shouldn't leave the ECHR. It's like, yeah, that's because that's how he's staying here. That's why we can't get rid of them. Because the lefty lawyers apply to the ECHR and the lefty judges say, oh, yeah. What about his right to a family life? It's like, but the Afghan guy
this vest is disgusting. I'm appalled. I am appalled. This is disgusting.
There's apply to the ECHR and the lefty judges say, oh, yeah. What about his right to a family life? It's like, but the Afghan guy doesn't seem to have a family. He hasn't mentioned them. But even then, it doesn't violate his right to a family life if they go back to Iran and raise their daughter there. What are you doing? Anyway, so as I said, the Labour MP and the Conservative and Zia, they've all conceded the mass deportations framing, right? As you see, we've made some progress, but we know we've got to go further. Yeah, you've got to go a lot further, because frankly, this is not acceptable. And you know it, which is why you're doing so badly in the polls. And they've been getting so badly punished by the public that TAP says, He understands fully the strength of feeling on illegal immigration, we don't even talk about legal immigration, and calls on people across the political spectrum to unite around fixing the asylum system, not feed division. It's like, sorry, if you hadn't poured these people into our country, then maybe we wouldn't be so divided on it. If you hadn't spent
You were the ones that poured them into the country, you fucking idiot. You retarded leave voting scum are the ones that fucking poured them into the country. You stupid racist cunt. You stupid racist sack of shit. You stupid fucking idiot. It's your fault they're here. It's your fucking fault. You Brexiting cunt. Dude, I can't fucking take it.
decades telling us that we were awful people for not wanting a bunch of randos breaking into our country and then giving us BS reasons why we should pay for them to stay, maybe we wouldn't feel so divided. But ultimately, I think that the reason that they call for unity and not division is because they realise if this question is broken down into a simple yes or no, they will find themselves on the yes side of it, and the public broadly will find themselves on the no side of it. And so anyone who actually says, no, we are going to have this debate and put a sharp shock down the middle and say, no, yes or no, choose, and they choose no, will win over Labour choosing yes. All of this, oh yeah, we've made some progress, we're going to do it, guys, we're going to do it. I mean, Zia pointed out they'd only deported like 4% of what they claimed to have deported. A lot of them just voluntarily left because they could see the way the wind was blowing, I guess. So they're all full of BS, basically. On the plus side, though, Zia actually did quite well. He handled himself pretty well in what was quite a ferocious environment. In fact, he was asked by one of these chaps, I can't remember which one it is, if he would deport them, and he said yes, basically. It's like, would you deport this man and his daughter who's learning English and not Farsi? He was like, well, yeah. So you went up in my estimation there, Zia. I have to say, well done for holding the line. And like I said, Zia was the only one who actually did do fairly well out of it. And he did do good, actually. I give him full props there. I know a lot of people don't like Zia, but he did hold his own very well here. And he was attacked rabidly. As you can see, you've got the Lib Dem and Zach Polanski there. Man, at points, they were just screeching at him. Absolutely screeching at him. And it was just like, bloody hell. They're really bothered that they're losing this argument. And they are losing this argument over and over and over. And this clip, which I'm going to play in a minute, just shows you why.
Do you think there should be any limits on those numbers? Judging from your manifesto, you don't.
Well, I think we need to be really clear about the numbers. This year, 800,000 people have arrived in this country. 400,000 of them have come to study. 300,000 of them have come to work and are a net contribution to our tax system.
Yes, but that's answering a different question.
Well,
the question I'm asking you, Zach, is do you believe, because judging from what the Greens say,
I won't get fucking strong. I'm going to skip over the clip.
Actually, around 850,000 that we're bringing in, which is great. That is an insane number. And we wonder why we have a housing shortage, why the NHS or any of the other services completely overburdened, etc., etc. But the thing is, we also grant 2.1 million visas.
Not explanatory at all. Not explanatory at all. You would not be able to find a single piece of evidence to demonstrate a causal relationship there. Fucking waste of space this guy is. What a fucking waste of space this fucking idiot is.
And we don't actually know how many of those leave. So that's not ideal. But then you have various other things. So that was interesting. And Fiona Bruce had also said that they have it in their manifesto. That's actually not true. What they have is a working paper, a working group paper on the Green Party website that says, we believe in open borders. But that's actually not in the manifesto itself, because the manifesto is the Carla Denyer manifesto from last year. Zach Polanski hasn't actually released his own manifesto yet, and I'm sure that he's smart enough to make sure that he doesn't put it in. But anyway, let's go to the most interesting one, which I thought was the most revealing about Zach Polanski, because he's explaining why we need to understand and properly reveal to the public the benefits of immigration.
1 in 5 care workers are foreign nationals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to wipe someone's bum. And I'm very grateful for the people who do this work, this really important work, whether it's in the care sector, whether it's in the NHS. 1 in 5.
That is incredible. So I wrote a little thing about that, but that was, what a brilliant reveal. You'll remember this sounds a lot like Kelly Osbourne's Who's gonna clean your toilets, Donald Trump? What is brilliant about this is it reveals where Zach sees himself in the social hierarchy. He sees himself as being part of some kind of elite. He sees himself as being above doing jobs like helping old people by wiping their bums. He thinks that is in fact something for foreigners to do, presumably because they just enjoy wiping old people's bums. They must just find it gratifying. They must just find it deeply satisfying. Now, the answer is they don't. The reality of this is that what this is...
It's a very capitalist position that Zach's laying out. He's basically saying that poor people with no other choice should be shipped in from other countries where they've got no choice but to come here and try and find a better life and forced to do shit work that none of us want to do that we find totally demeaning.
This is exploitation. Right? What we are doing is paying them way more than they would be able to earn in their own countries because they come from a poor country. And so what we are doing is exploiting them to do the jobs that we consider unpleasant but necessary and icky. And Zach Polanski is like, well, I'm way above that. I don't want to wipe a bum. Just as a quick side, when you have enough kids, you end up wiping a lot of bums. It's not pleasant, right? It's not a pleasant job.
He's gay.
But it does
Sargon.
have to be done.
Like you.
And so you have to do it. And so
He's gay Sargon. So like you, the only way he'll be having kids is if they're you know, from someone else.
So he's very upset about the idea, and so all the talk of equality and inclusion and stuff is actually a smokescreen to hide the true motivations that they have for immigration. What he wants is not peers who come into the country, but servants who come into the country and do the icky jobs he doesn't want to do. And so he wants to, as I say, continue his perfumed life without worrying what's going to happen to his own parents and who's going to take care of them. He's happy for his parents to be taken care of by some foreigners. Now, and for everyone else's parents to be taken care of by foreigners. Now, I don't know if they want that. They might not find that the most appealing thing. And I'm sure if we were to look at the statistics, it might not be the safest thing. There might be a slight disparity there. But the point is, he thinks he's a good person by extending the privilege to foreigners to come over here and be care workers, because surely they will be grateful for cleaning shit. That's Zach Polanski's worldview. A bunch of serfs from third world countries can wipe they're good enough to wipe the arses of our old people. And everyone was like, wow, Zach, that's a bit of a mask off moment. We have again arrived at the position, who will pick the cotton? Or as many people were pointing out, who will serve our coffee in Pret? Where is the slave class? Says Zach Polanski. Which is just remarkable. And of course, people just started...
Okay, but... Yeah, the point sucks, but there is like a legitimate thing here of, we want low-cost labor to help our economy grow. And we need that to help support the tax burden of the old people. So where's your rebuttal to that? Sargon's not offering any actual rebuttal to the underlying economic problem here, where you need that broadening tax base, and the population are not providing that.
Memeing on him there. He's like, yeah, let them wipe bums. Like, Abdul, I've finished. Literally what he thinks. Because I don't want to wipe a bum. That's what Zach Polanski says. No, it's beneath me. It's gross. My goodness. And, make whatever judgments you want on that. But this really was the best bit of it, because he's not really got a rejoinder to this. What's he going to say? He's got literally nothing except for, I'm too good for that. That's for the lower class immigrants. So all the talk of equality, bullshit. All the talk of it being good for the economy, everyone knows, is bullshit. What it is Zach Polanski wants to live...
No, it's not, you fucking idiot. So here's Sargon on Twitter talking to Dev, SFO. Are leftist content creators still making content? I never see it in my feed anymore. Can you post some videos below for me to enjoy, please? You've played yourself inside an echo chamber. It's good that you're trying to break out of it. No, I don't watch much YouTube these days, but I notice you don't recommend anything. Sure, this is the guy I want you to debate on UK immigration, because the people who are actually willing to step up on the right are quite subpar. This is just slop nonsense. Where are the proper content creators? Day of the Fun Pillow. Day of the Fun Pillow's coming. Like, Sargon makes slop too. What does he mean? Akkad Daily. This is slop, bro.